Chapter 14. Bar Queued. Thomas offered Janice the bottle. She looked at him, as did the other two, before taking it and glancing around for something to pour it into. "How about your mouth?" Thomas said. "I won't mind, although I'd call you a hypocrite, of course." He glanced at the others. "You wouldn't mind either, would you? It's not very ladylike and probably far too early for it to be acceptable, but you seem to know Janice quite well and would be aware of her need for alcohol to function socially while insisting others refrain." They stared at him and then at Janice. "It's not true," she said. "He says things like this. He's quite incapable of saying anything to anyone that doesn't insult or demean." "Now that's hardly fair," Thomas said. "When have I ever demeaned you? Other than that time you begged me to tie you up and bend you over." Janice glared at him. "Allow me," Thomas said, taking the bottle when worrying she might hit him with it. He examined its label. "Oh, a Bollinger 53. Very nice. Dutch, I believe." "It's French," Janice growled. He removed the cork and waved it beneath his nose. Quite excellent, of course. Did you know that French is now the official culinary language?" The woman frowned. "Is it?" Presumably. "So you're a friend of Janice's?" the man asked. "In a manner of speaking," Thomas said. "What manner of speaking?" "Dutch, I believe." "This is Thomas," Janice said. "He's someone I feel sorry for. He doesn't get out much and has no friends. I thought I'd bring him along. It's either that or having to put up with him afterwards, sobbing for hours on end that nobody loves him." Thomas smiled. "It's all true. I'm quite hopeless." "Oh, I'm sure that's not true," the woman said. "It is," Janice said, snatching a glass from a passing waiter despite it being a used one. She took the bottle from Thomas and emptied the latter into the former. "And what's more, he's going to do his best to embarrass me tonight and make me realise what a mistake it was to invite him to a party consisting almost entirely of my profession." She took an impressive swig and poured again. "It's going to be one of those nights," she decided. "A night that both me and my career will probably regret for the rest of my life. I've got a funeral to go to this week, and I was hoping this might cheer me up enough to get through it." "A funeral?" asked Thomas. "Oh, come now, Janice," the man said. "You jest, surely. There's certainly—" "I'll tell you what's in jest," she swore. "Me being stupid enough to help him in the first place. Do you know, I genuinely thought there was something worthy in the rubbish he writes. I thought if he can incite the sort of hatred that he has, then there must be some misappropriated genius buried in it. I thought I could help him rechannel the disgust he's inspired in others into something more productive. By using an editor, for example, someone proficient enough to claw through his turgid, self-indulgent wank and find some essence lying within. But no, it's not possible. Firstly, because he's such a self-indulgent wanker, and secondly, his writings revile because it's complete and utter shit." The party shattered in silence and everyone turned to her. It was the sort of silence so long that one could not only park a bus in it, but had ample room to build the thing first. "Actually," said Thomas, breaking it, "aren't all wankers self-indulgent?" Janice groaned and took another swig, first from the glass and then from the bottle. Before muttering something about no longer caring, she grabbed the woman's hand and dragged her off somewhere that hadn't a hint of him. "Damien," said the man, offering his hand to Thomas. "No, Thomas, weren't you listening?" There was a pause. "No, I mean my name's Damien." "Oh, right. Well, you need to be clearer. Try putting your name into a sentence next time." There was another pause and the line shifted closer to the bar. "So tell me, Thomas, what do you do?" Thomas peered through the rain in the wake of Janice storming off, but couldn't see her, despite the lack of walls. "I'm sorry?" Thomas said, turning back. "But that last bit of narration had me forgetting the question." "I asked what it is that you do." Does it matter?" "Well, no, but I'm just making conversation." Sadly I don't do conversation. Well, not without offending people, apparently." The man scoffed. "Oh, you needn't worry about that. I don't take offence easily." "A veteran of it, are you?" "No, not particularly. It's just, in my game, one learns to develop resilience. One has to, otherwise one would achieve little." "Would one?" "Yes, indeed." And what game is that then? I'm a columnist at The Guardian. Thomas blinked religiously. The Guardian, indeed. Goodness, how very prestigious. Yes, do you read it? When I've run out of lavatory paper. Very good, yes. Well, I must admit to being rather pleased at the fact. Understandably. I don't like to boast, but I can certainly say I've landed on my feet there. It's just reassuring that you know what they are. The man nodded. But tell me, Thomas, what do you do? Well, do you know, Damien, that I write for The Guardian as well? No, really? How marvellous! Yes, indeed, although I do so indirectly. Indirectly? What, as a freelancer? No, I write books. Books? Yes, well, I say write. More that I convolute my supposed ideas with masses of inherent redundancy through a smear of random letters which on occasion resemble a traditional alphabet. Damien blinked at him. I'm sorry? You don't perhaps recall that line? No, I don't think so. Pity. It was a line The Guardian attributed to my books earlier last year, and so beautifully scribed was it that I'm unable to forget it. Really? Thomas nodded, regardless of the therapy. This time Damien nodded hesitantly. He licked his lips too and peered past Thomas to where dinner was almost ready. Do you know who I am? Thomas asked. Should I? I think it might help. Help what? Well, this evening for a start. Why does this evening need help? Thomas leant forward. So that it's unforgettable, he whispered, regardless of the therapy. I'm sorry, Damien said, but I don't quite follow. Is that you don't follow, or that you don't want to follow? Well, both, I suspect. Thomas stared. Corfield, he said. Thomas Corfield. What? My name is Thomas Corfield. Damien frowned. What, as in the spy? Thomas blinked several times at him. Spy? Yes, spy, you know, the one from the books. Thomas choked on confusion. The one they make all the films from, Damien said. Films? Yes, the spy with Dr. No and quantums and loving Russians and things. A veritable swathe of blinks from Thomas. James Bond? That's the one. What the hell has my name got to do with James Bond? Damien shrugged. I don't know, I got the names mixed up. But my name's nothing like James Bond. I think it was the way you said it. What? It was the way you leant in and said your name, like he does in the films. And that made you think of James Bond? I don't really know. Perhaps because your name is vaguely familiar. Is it indeed? Awareness then dawned. Thomas Corfield? The very same. With all the court cases and stuff? Indeed. Oh, Jesus! Not quite, Thomas said, though we do share the same middle name. I didn't realise. Goodness, but the Guardian hates you. So it appears. Damien looked around for either an exit or a weapon. I'm sorry, Thomas, I didn't make the connection. Yes, I imagine that's something you struggle with on a daily basis. You speak quite normally, you see. I assumed that because you're writing so ghastly that you were going to dribble a lot and eat shoes. He smiled awkwardly. No offence. Oh, none taken, Damien, Thomas said. After all, how can I take offence from someone who'd struggle to spell it?